Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. Day 2 of my staycation, and I've actually gotten some work done. I got a little bit done yesterday. I said yesterday there was some stuff I wanted to do, and we'll see whether I get it done. I got a few things done yesterday. I put the siding away that I showed you that was over there. It is now behind my miter saw bench, and I got the drawer runners installed. I actually had to move all of them. I had to move all of those bars that I showed yesterday because when I put those in, I was thinking, well, I don't know what I was thinking. I have a bunch of sets of Euro undermount. They're not undermount, but Euro drawer slides. They're the kind that kind of wrap under the bottom of the drawer, and they have the two wheels. I have a bunch of those because Amazon accidentally sent me a bunch of those, and they never asked for them back, so I just kept them. So I thought I would use them on these drawers, make them a little bit nicer than the other drawers that I have. And so I had to, all those little bars that I put in, they needed to be at the bottom of the drawer. It was intended to be 3 drawers, it's 3 drawers, but they needed to be moved down. So I ended up remounting all of those, which worked out because I didn't have to worry about the holes. I also, some of them were kind of inset inside the front 2x4s, which would not work for drawers because they need to be able to slide in and out. So I made a spacer, I clamped the boards to the spacer, and then installed them, and they work great. Today, I came down, yesterday, that's all I did. I just put the drawer slides on those 2x4s and then installed them. Today I came down and actually built the drawers. I had some OSB laying around, something to use it on. This is shop furniture. I don't care what the material is. OSB. Did I say USB? OSB is legit for drawers. It works really, really well. All I did was make the bottom plate. I'll just show you. The bottom plate of the drawer is actually what is carrying the weight through these hinges. These hinges are wrapped around the bottom, and then they're screwed in here and on the bottom. So the bottom plate is doing all of the work. This box, the only part of this box that's going to do any work is this front, because that's what you're pulling on when you're opening and closing the drawer. So it doesn't need to be ridiculously strong unless your drawer slides suck or you put way too much weight in the thing. And so when I build shop drawers like this is literally 2 sides that are cut the same length as the bottom, 2 ends that are cut the width of the bottom minus the width of the 2 sides, and then these are just stapled through the corners. So I used 1.5-inch narrow crown staples. That means if you're building a drawer, you want whatever fastening you use for this front piece, you want it to go this way, not this way, right? If you go this way, say I put a screw in through here or a nail in through here, from the act of pulling on this drawer face over and over and over again, you're eventually going to strip that fastener out or pull that fastener out. If your fasteners are going through the side, so the front piece that's taking all the weight is inset and the fasteners are going through here, it's never going to pull apart. Trust me. You could probably do just glue and it would be fine. OSB is pretty crappy when it comes to just glue. The glue will eventually fail just because the pieces will fail, like the strands will pull apart. So some glue and about 5, maybe only 3, I think it's about 5 in each front corner, narrow crown staples. This thing will be rock solid forever. It's never going to go anywhere. So I built 3 OSB drawers. I'm in the process of loading them up now. That's what I did today. I actually did a bunch of other stuff today too. The side project, there's quite a bit of work to be done there, so I've been spending 3 to 4 hours a day on it. I'm only allowed to have so many hours, so I kind of have to be cautious with that. And in fact, so I did this, and I worked on that stuff yesterday. I wanted to talk, I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to talk, I think I was going to talk about research. I don't know exactly what was on my mind at that time, but the problems that I'm facing, the problems that I have been assigned, let's put it that way. There's lots of problems, but the problems that I have been assigned, the tasks that I have assigned to me, are tasks that use parts of the code that I am extremely unfamiliar with. And for me, I have a particular way I like to tackle those kinds of tasks. And I think that if you are a developer and you're looking at somebody else's project, and especially a project of any scale, this project is a pretty large, pretty complex project. If you haven't seen it yet, it's Component Studio, and you can use it to programmatically build board game components like cards, boards, player aids, whatever, up from a collection of images and icons and text. You can build a data set, a spreadsheet essentially, and you can make up your own variables. You can make up your own icon shortcuts, and you can plug all that stuff in and programmatically build your cards. It's a pretty complex system. And there are parts of the system that are at first glance are untouchable. And I think that if you ever find yourself looking at something like that, a large scale program, I think the best way to learn it is by taking on these big heavy tasks. You know, if you want to jump into an open source project, or you're jumping into a new work project and you don't understand the code, and you like getting you like providing value immediately, then sure, tackling little front end, tweak this icon, change this language, add a button here, that sort of stuff is a really great way to make you, not necessarily make you feel good, but help you become familiar with the code base. That's one thing. And also become familiar with the team that you're working with. But for me, these big, heavy, really intense problems are the way that I learn the best. And the way that I do it is I look at my result, and whatever that result is, it's obviously flawed, and I try to work my way backwards, not forwards. I think it's a big misconception to want to work your way forwards. People will say, well, you click this button, then what happens? Then this happens, this happens, this happens, I get here. But if you see the output and the output is wrong, the best way to figure out why the output is wrong is to work your way backwards. And that's what I've been having to do. And I've been tracing my way backwards all the way to the source. And so somewhere along that line, it's broken. And you have to find that part. And you have to, sometimes, for some of these fixes. Today, I fixed a problem that I researched for probably 3 hours. And the problem came down to I needed to add one extra conditional to an if statement. That's it. It was literally, 15 characters. That's all I needed to add to fix the problem. And that took me 3.5 hours. But the thing about that 3.5 hours is I now understand that system much more intimately than had I tried to start at the beginning and worm my way through it. Yeah, I could have picked up how this whole thing is, how we got from start to finish. But I don't necessarily need to know start to finish to fix the problem. I need to clearly identify the problem, clearly identify how to replicate that problem, work my way backwards on, okay, so something in the data is causing this outcome. What is that thing in the data? Find that. All right. Something generated that. What generated that? Okay, find that. Okay, why did that generate the failure? Okay, well, maybe it's being generated by something. And so you work your way back as far as you need to go. And I think that's for me, the way that I become the most familiar with the project is mapping this stuff. I literally map stuff out. I have one problem that I solved last week or 2 weeks ago that I have probably 3 or 4 pages in my notebook where I literally drew a flow chart because it was jumping through a whole bunch of different things, and there were some cyclical things happening in there, and I needed to map that out in my head, but I couldn't keep track of it. So I had to do it on paper so that I could see the flow and go, oh, well, here's what's going on. I think that's a skill, right? And I think it's something that every software developer, possibly every person, needs to learn. I think that's a skill that, I know a lot of people who simply don't know how to Google. Not because They don't know how to open Google and type in something. It's the knowing what to type in, right? And I think that is the same skill. It's a skill that says, if you just take the error code as presented and type it in, you might find an answer, or you might find a whole bunch of other people talking about systems that you don't understand. But if you understand the system, then you might be, I think that's where I was going to go with this yesterday. The goal is to understand the system, because when you understand the system, it makes finding the solution infinitely more simple. It makes taking a simple, error message, you no longer are relying on somebody else solving that error for you. If you understand the system, you know what question to ask. Knowing what question to ask is how you're going to solve the problem. I think that's the thing that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, because finding the question to ask is often what separates good development or good writing or good learning from everything else. I don't know if that made any sense at all. Please let me know if it did in the comments down below. Hopefully, the rest of the week, I'm going to get to finish some of these other projects that are loose in here, as well as side project stuff. Because though I'm on vacation, that vacation is only for my day job, and I'm very much enjoying the work on the side project. What do you got going on? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is oligopoly. It is a noun meaning control of industry, sector, or market by a small number of companies dominating that particular niche. One can argue that Intel and Microsoft collectively are an oligopoly in personal computing. Oligopoly. O-L-I-G-O-P-O-L-Y. Boy, this book, showing this book's age a little bit. I wouldn't consider Intel to be anything right now. I think that AMD is really crushing it lately. And I think that mobile processing is crushing Intel as well.